My name is Beth McCoy. I work for the California Department of Public Health. I don't like what's going on in the country, and I want to try and make a difference. They should be acting, speaking out, taking action, making their opinions known and felt and heard. Well, I work for the state of California, and I was on furlough, a 3-day furlough, which was a 15% pay cut for 2 years, and then now I'm on a 1-day furlough, but I have to pay more money into retirement, and we're state workers. We don't make any money to begin with. So there's plenty of money. They're just giving tax cuts to all the corporate interests in California. That's what they're doing, so they don't leave, but they're not going to leave. They just throw a tantrum every time there's some sort of, threat of a tax raise.
And what is your union doing?
My union is AFL-CIO, and they're not doing very much for us, but only a few of us are a member of AFL-CIO. So, they signed a contract, the compromise deal of the century, like everyone else. No, it hasn't actually. Not sure what they're thinking in that vein, but...
Well, it seems like they have a lot. They think that these politicians can solve the problems for working people.
Well, they're supposed to be solving the problems for working people. That's what they're supposed to be doing, but they're not doing a very good job of it.
And so what would you say to the people at this meeting, the AFL-CIO officials here from the Western United States?
We'd say get busy and spend that money responsibly. That means don't give it to the Democrats or any other politicians, actually. Do something else with it if you can. Or give it to somebody who's going to actually work for our cause.
Like labor education.
Yeah, labor education would be great. And
the Triangle Fire?
Just educate people about the history of labor, actually, and what great things it's done for people across the world. Most people do not know what an amazing thing the labor movement has been. So.
And how has the cutbacks affected the health and safety of people in California at the state cutbacks?
Well, specifically, people don't know what the cutbacks have done, but programs get cut. Health programs get cut. When we're on furlough, a lot of crucial programs were shut down. The labs were shut down. The swine flu. My son had swine flu. I had swine flu, and I didn't even have my doctor test me because the guy next door is at the swine flu lab, and I knew they wouldn't have time to do the test. I didn't die. Hey, that's good news.
But you're saying these are life and death issues.
Yes, many of them are life and death issues. Absolutely, So it's poor planning. I'm a planner, poor planning.
Yeah, but the union doesn't seem to be making that an issue in what it's doing.
I have no idea what the union is doing. They're not doing anything. They're sitting up there hanging out with the fat cats. The union movement is, the current unions, it was progressive and action-oriented when it first was started, but now it hangs out with the fat cats at the table, plays golf.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Nina Smith. I'm a retired former member of SEIU 1021, working for Solano County Mental Health, and I think the unions are too cozy with the management, too cozy with the political establishment. I was an activist in my union, and all I got encouraged to do was lobby for political candidates, Democratic candidates, and I didn't see any results, and I didn't see good representation. And so a lot of people in my union, that I was their steward, and they were alienated from the union. What are we paying all this money for? They're not doing anything for us. And so that's why I'm here, among other reasons.
Okay, and what was the conditions where you worked? Were they going downhill?
I worked in public mental health, and it was absolutely becoming so dangerous. I took an 11-inch knife off of a client who was already on a 5150 hold, who had escaped from the emergency room where he was put on the hold, walked across town, picked up a knife, stuck it in this cast, and then I'm in this little tiny room with him, trying to calm him down. And he said, after he calms down, he pulls out this knife and he says, "I guess I should give this to you." We used to have metal detectors. We used to have people who were in crisis were interviewed in rooms with guards and with in-house TVs so that we were safe, and they closed all that down, and then we had to deal with them in a totally unsafe environment with inadequate staff, inadequate supervision. It was dangerous for the clients and the staff, very dangerous and very stressful. And I retired early because I couldn't handle the stress.
And they say they don't have money for staff that was put in your...
Money for staff, they don't have money for security, they don't have money even for full-time guards. Yep, that's what they say. And, what should we do about it? Well, write your representative in Sacramento. That does a lot of good.
Well, yeah, my name is Jack Heyman, longtime activist in the Longshore Union here in San Francisco, Local 10. And I'm out here protesting what the AFL-CIO bureaucracy is doing, namely conceding to the employer demands, whether a private sector or public sector, demanding concessions. The only thing the trade union bureaucracy in there is fighting for is for collective bargaining so that they can get their dues base paid and have their salaries maintained. They don't give a damn about the rank and file. We're out here to say that it's time to fight against these concessions, and basically the chant out here should be no give back, stand up and fight back. That's basically what it's about. And there's not really a financial crisis in this country. They're just simply not taxing the corporations and the very wealthy, and therefore creating an artificial economic crisis.
Mm-hmm. And recently the ILW was banned from.
Well, there were two big demonstrations here in the Bay Area as part of demonstrations around the country. The AFL-CIO called these rallies in defense of the Wisconsin workers who are under attack to show solidarity under the rubric of no business as usual. But as far as I know, there was only one union in the entire country that actually took job action, and that was the Longshore Union here in San Francisco. We shut down the ports in Oakland and in San Francisco. And yet the trade union bureaucracy here refused to allow representatives of Local 10 to speak at either of the rallies here.
What were they afraid of? Why did they slight them?
Because our union, and particularly the militants in the union, have been critical of the Democratic Party. The fact that the Democratic Party is pushing for concessions, just like the Republicans, and they were afraid that we were going to say that from the podium. The mayor of Oakland was booed because she stated forthrightly that she was going to lay off workers in the city. She didn't get a chance to get the second part of her sentence out, which is that she's for collective bargaining, but she wants the union bureaucrats to agree to all these layoffs. Well, that's the difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republicans are opposed to even collective bargaining. The Democrats are saying you can have collective bargaining if you cut your own throats and lay off your workers and agree to cuts. We say it's time to build a workers' party in this country. Obama is becoming clear. It's becoming clearer every day that he's not really much different than what Bush has stood for. Not only in terms of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and now in Libya, but also economic policies and civil liberties issues. All across the board. There's really not, Malcolm X said it years ago, there's not a dime's worth of difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. And that's why our banner here from the Transport Worker Solidarity Committee says, we're for a general strike. It's time to fight back. And to do that, we need to start building a workers' party in this country that's going to challenge the monopoly, the political monopoly in this country of the twin capitalist parties, the Democrats and the Republicans.
Maxwell, painter with the city, San Francisco public employees. We're here protesting the fact that, in our case, that there's a disparity in the organization that runs the painters in Northern California, just by virtue of their salaries, which we now have on the LM2s, that shows these business agents making $120,000 on up to $190,000. While we're getting laid off, our bargaining agreements are being eroded down to the point where people can barely keep a job, barely make a living, under concession bargaining, under givebacks, and we're here to protest this fact that they're here with AFL-CIO having a convention with not even addressing the issues at hand.
My name is Gilbert Fregoso. I work for Parking and Traffic. I work for the City and County of San Francisco. Worked 19 years. And I'm just here to voice my opinion that we are in a recession. People can't hold on to their houses, their jobs, their kids are out of college. We have bills. Union workers are tumbling by the wayside. And on top of the hardship that most families are feeling. They are experiencing massive increases in union dues, illegal raising of dues, not being democratic about the whole situation. They're just act like this is a democracy, and it's not. We're not under a dictatorship. This is clearly all illegal. It's farce. It's totally against what we stick up for. I'm a fourth-generation painter, and they are trying to bust the tight union that we have left. They are trying to go after our throats, and we can't afford it. We are here protesting that the 300% increase in union dues. It's just totally outrageous.
Did they do that with the vote of your members?
No, they did not. They did that with their delegates that they had in their pocket, and they held a meeting, said everybody got a letter, and nobody received the letter. So they had an illegal vote and said, this is what you guys are paying, and we're standing up and protested in behalf of we're not going to pay it. The rank and file is just...
they voted it down twice.
It's terrible. It's terrible. They are dividing the membership, not making us stronger. They are... after our throats. We can't afford it. We got a job, so they want to come after us. That's not right. It's just totally not right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
1176 drop representation.
Who is 1176?
Local Union 1176. They're an affiliate of the District Council 16 for the Painters International. What is it? IUPAT, whatever they call themselves. I don't know. We're demanding that they drop representation of our contract and our bargaining unit. That's what we're hoping for.
And if they don't?
Well, then we're going to accelerate our activities. It's going to become more hostile. And they're going to, we're going to go to the public. We're going to turn it over to the public opinion. So we're going to ruin their reputation. If they, anything else we can do is,
I'm Paul Vollmer. I work at East Bay Mud, union member 444. I'm here because I'm really tired of seeing teachers, firemen, policemen being criminalized or made into the enemy. If we look at the same politicians, they don't pay for their pensions. They don't pay for anything, yet they get everything, and these are the guys who are making the decisions, and we're now buying them. We know they can be bought, but now we're trying to buy them, and they'll be bought, but they don't do anything for us. And so I'm like, why do we keep trying to buy Democrats, Republicans, or anybody? I'd much rather we take that same money and put out our own publicity, looking at the realities of the world and educating people about what is going on, not just what we're being told. And not even what our leadership is telling us at times.
What are they telling you?
Well, the fact that they're trying to talk to the Democrats and the Democrats are promising them nothing, but we're still giving them everything. That's enough. To me, that's a lie. When we're going to take our hard-earned money, we put it into a union fund where we're hoping that will then be able to help us and other workers in the country, and then we're buying politicians who don't do anything for us.
You don't think Obama's representing labor?
Not very well, not at this point. I think he would like to, and I think I have a lot of faith in what he would like to do. I don't have a lot of faith in what he'll be able to do. He's one man. He's got the Democratic Party who aren't trying that hard, except for their own little pet projects. The Democrats or the Republicans are vying for their own pet projects, and they're quite willing to vilify the president and anybody else, and are actively doing that. And I think our responsibility as the unions is to take that away.
How would the unions do that?
Well, to do our own publicity, get out and do our own campaigns. For the same money we're giving to the union leaders and to the politicians, we could be taking that same money, putting out our own advertising, or putting out the real truth about what's going on. Look at the numbers of who makes what. Who takes home all the money, doesn't pay taxes. General Electric didn't pay any taxes for the last 10 years, and yet they're turning around with the blessing of the government and the politicians and saying, hey, that's okay, get rid of these people who don't put anything into their pensions. There's a lot I don't have a concise statement today, but there's a lot that could be done, and I think we need to do it ourselves instead of waiting for other leaders and or politicians to do it for us, because they've already been bought and have their own agendas.
I'd just like to say a couple words. The reason that I believe you're here, certainly the reason I'm here, is because we're sick and tired of the fact that we have a situation where we've got Labor/Democratic Party. And because of that relationship, because of that collusion, we are losing everything. Our pensions are being nickel-dimed, our wages are being cut, our benefits are being removed, and this has got to stop. And the reason that it's happening is because of the people that are sitting in this room behind us. They've been in here, I believe, since Thursday. They're going to leave town on Sunday. And God knows what they're planning for us, but I can assure you one thing. The Democratic Party will rubber stamp whatever takes place in this room. And it won't benefit us. And we have to continue to have rallies like this. We have to continue to show these people up for what they are. If you had this kind of a relationship where I worked as a shop steward with management, I would be thrown out of the union. Under the Constitution of Ask Me International, you do not have the right to collude with the employer. And that's exactly what's going on with these people. They'd be thrown out of their own unions for what they're doing. And we have to continue fighting. We have to continue fighting against them. Because if we don't clean our own house, there's no talk about doing anything else with the Democrats and with the capitalists and with Wall Street and with the banks. Because these bastards won't fight them. And if they would fight them, then the leadership would be talking names like Timothy Geithner, Bernanke, Larry Summers. Why aren't they in prison? Why aren't charges being brought against them? Why is it always this amorphous thing? Bad banks. Screw that. They've got faces. They've got names. And they should be going to prison right now. Why aren't these people identifying them? All they have to do is go look at a simple DVD called Inside Job and they would know that. All they'd have to do is read an article, a lengthy article out of Rolling Stone, a rock and roll magazine, and they would know who these people are. They would have the evidence to put them in prison. Why aren't they talking about these people? The reason is because the Democrats aren't talking about them either. And so if you raise the issue, you might bring a spotlight on the Democratic Party for not talking about putting these people in prison. And they're not going to do that. We have no more democracy in this country. All we've got is the Democrat/Democratic Party, and it's a dictatorship. And I can tell you this, if things keep going on the slide that they're going now, 5 years from now, if we have any unions left, they will be worthless. And what's worse is if our pension plans and that, we're going to have pensioners with no money. And that the whole thing about cat food that you heard about many years ago might start again. Trust me. Trust me. This is a robbery. We're the ones being robbed. They committed the crime when they stole the money. They're committing crimes by being in these foreign countries fighting their wars. And we're paying the price. They don't care. Class warfare is not a metaphor anymore. It is a reality. And if you don't realize it, and I know we do, we're losing. Right now we're losing, and that's the reason why. Things have to change. And that's all.
I'm going to give you the bad news of what happened to the public workers who work for the state of California. Unfortunately, we have all taken concessionary contracts. The 12 unions that represent us, SEIU 1000, the largest of them, AFL-CIO, CAPS, PEGS, they all took concessionary contracts where they started taking money from the workers that we had already won as part of our pension and put that back into our pension plan. We've been on 3 years of furlough, which is a 15% cut in pay for 3 years, and now 2 years, and now they invite us back to work with a one-day furlough. It's not a furlough anymore. What it's called now is a personal leave day. Now, when we were out without a contract and there were furloughs, we could look at our MOUs and say, that's a lockout, we have the right to strike. But the minute that we sign this concessionary contract, we've agreed to it and we lose the right to strike. And of course, our leaderships don't explain this to us. Our leaderships tell us, we're going to take your money, and what are we going to do with it? Well, I got the budget from my union. I looked at it. We've given most of our money to lobbyists and lawyers for the last 10 years. So if you hire somebody for the last 10 years to do some work for you, to advance your condition of labor in the world, do you look at where you were there and where you are now and determine, is that a good strategy? I would. Well, we've given them $10 million in the last 10 years, all going to the lobbyists and to the lawyers. And every year they tell us to vote for the Democrats, and duly we go out and do that. Well, now we are 18% behind in our COLAs from 10 years ago, plus the 15% we lost for furloughs. Call that a 25% cut in pay, and that's exactly what capitalism needs to do to all the workers in the advanced imperialist countries to balance their books and maintain their profit base, because capitalism is no longer a progressive mode of production. It's no longer capable of advancing the conditions of working people around the world. So the way they have to maintain their position is to take away, take away, take away. The only way that we can turn this around is if we organize at a rank and file basis, we get rid of the labor fakers at the top who have tied us to these Democrats, and we start to take the type of action that actually built the trade union movement in the first place. And that meant strikes, that meant general strikes, and eventually that means we have to take power away from the capitalist class. How? It's going to take general strikes, workers' committees, organizing, public assemblies, and it means that we can't concede and join into a capitalist party. We need our own party that's going to do the work of the working class to take the economy out of the hands of Wall Street, out of the hands of the super wealthy, the 1% that own the 25%. That's no longer sustainable at this end. The only way that it's sustainable is by taking it away from us. So our steps are rank and file mobilization, get rid of the labor tops, break from the Democrats, create a workers' party, and fight for a workers' government.
Moment, because we have a movie thing here.
By the way,
General strike now! 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 Well, we're stopped right now.
Okay, all right. So let me get some folks.
Okay.
Council, we are having our conferences, and that is who's meeting here, and that is where we're at. So there, you are not on the agenda. We have a very full agenda talking about the serious issues.
We're going to call the police, so you have to leave property. The police are coming.
We're talking with the organizers. We're talking about.
Sir, you have to leave the property.
We're talking with somebody.
Sir, you have. I've called the police. You have to leave.
Okay. Well, one of the things. Okay. No, we're not coming up. And in San Francisco. And at the same time, they had the Police Officers Association. They had the Police Officers Association speak in San Francisco. And the ILW was prevented. I mean, I'm talking with the representative of the AFL-CIO here. Okay. We'd like an explanation. There's a brother from the ILW who was prevented from speaking at the rally. I mean, I don't understand why the ILW, which is a member of the San Francisco Labor Council and the Alameda Labor Council, was prevented from speaking.
There were 150 unions that participated in our rallies. They were there. It was extremely inclusive of everybody.
So it's correct that they were excluded from speaking?
They weren't excluded from speaking.
They weren't excluded from speaking?
There was never a request to speak.
Well, Clarence Thomas did make a request to speak.
There was no request to speak.
Yeah, he did make a request to speak.
Never made it to the organizing committee during many of the organizing committees.
He came up at the San Francisco.
So anyway, what's your point?
The point is that the only
you've made 4 points right now. I'm trying to. I see the signs.
The other issue is the issue of the Democratic Party in San Francisco. Mayor Ed Lee.
We're not the Democratic Party.
Yeah, but we get millions of dollars from the Democratic Party.
We're here to meet with our brothers and sisters from across the country to deal with the crisis that we're dealing with right now. We're having some very good deliberations, and I would like to get back in and do that. We'll talk later.
Are you discussing general strike as the workers won?
So we're going to go back in. Thank you.
General strike on the table of discussion?
All right. I would like to be able to talk about the Labor Council Monday night. We need to have some friendly, non-random discussion about what happened.
Because I will talk to you about what happened, and I do have some concerns about the way it did play out.
By the way, do you know, because we're the only union in the country that took strike action in support?
I know that. We appreciate it.
No.
And I made sure that the head of the AFL-CIO from Wisconsin, who we invited out to tell her stories, I made sure when she was in Oakland and when she was in San Francisco that the biggest shout out that she gave was to the ILWU.
I know. She was embarrassed that we were denied the right to speak.
No, she wasn't. I was with her all day.
But the point I'm trying to make is we're being sued now by the employers for taking strike action. They're saying it's illegal.
And so, on behalf of the San Francisco Labor Council, we'll say it again. I appreciate the action you took. Matter of fact, when we were driving her over the bridge, she said she ran into one of your members during the course of it. When I was driving over the bridge to go over to the Oakland rally, we saw the Wisconsin flag upside down on one of the cranes. We were trying to get a picture. She was really pleased.
Yeah. Well, the important thing was that
she gave you the big shout out.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, we'll.
Anyway, I'm on a panel. I got to get back in. Just want to come out.
All right. Can we have some discussion about that at the San Francisco Labor Council on Monday night about what happened?
Okay, let's talk later. Okay. Call me.
I'm from the East Bay. I'm not even union. It's just seeing what's happening and people's rights being taken away, and it's definitely going to a slippery direction of the workers give more and more and more, the top takes more and more and more, and there has to be a balance, and I'm trying to help promote a balance.
You feel that working people, young people, really don't have a future right now?
Their future is looking much more diminished every year. Yeah, I mean, education is being cut, colleges are being cut. The opportunities for young people is definitely diminishing, and it's time for people to wake up to it and just. I think people got a little complacent, lazy. Things got a little too easy for them. Things got handed to them, and. I think everyone has the blinders on, what's happening in Wisconsin can't happen here, what's happening, and it's going to move, it's going to come, with the Tea Party and everything else, it's a direct agenda. I mean, they've said it, that our agenda is to destroy unions, and I mean, I don't see how people can ignore that. It's really crazy, I'm a carpenter, so definitely home construction has plummeted. It's really hard for me to find work right now, of any kind. So, I have a family of 3, and I've been working without health benefits since I first started doing carpentry. When I first got in and things were moving okay, I could make upwards to almost 30 an hour, and now I have a hard time making 20. And just everyone's trying to cut everyone's throat. I mean, the workers are cutting each other's throats, and it's that's what makes it really tough. When another guy will come in and do it for 15, another guy will do it for 10, another guy will do it for 5. Pretty soon people are working under minimum wage. So part of it is we can't fight amongst ourselves. We got to unite together. Create stronger unions and say no. People deserve to make a decent wage, especially when people are making profit off your back. And it's aggravating.
And California's a rich state. We've got tremendous wealth here.
They say that. I don't think it's in the pockets of the people, but someone has it, that's for sure.
Well, there are 84 billionaires in California.
That's and I guess I built a few of their homes, and they got a great deal. I don't know. I don't know. It didn't find its way to me.
The Longshore Union has a long tradition of standing in solidarity with other workers who are in struggle. Recently, we took action to support the Charleston longshoremen. 10, 15 years ago, we came out and supported the Liverpool dock workers in England. And so we've got this long tradition of standing in solidarity with workers. Most recently, on April 4th, our membership decided to stand in solidarity with the Wisconsin workers who were occupying the Capitol. But unlike the trade union bureaucracy, which just says we're standing for collective bargaining, we also said we're against taking the cuts in wages and benefits and jobs. That's the position of the Democratic Party. That's not the position of the rank and file. In fact, at the April 4th rally, when Democrat Mayor Jean Quan spoke in Oakland, she was roundly booed because she said she's going to implement layoffs. When it comes to layoffs and cutting the benefits and wages of workers, there's not a dime's worth of difference between the Democrats and the Republican parties, okay? And many in Local 10, particularly the organizers, the militants, have said this time and again. At this particular rally on April 4th, both the one in Oakland and the one in San Francisco, Local 10, and keep this in mind, Local 10 was the only trade union local in the entire country that actually stopped work for the Wisconsin workers. We stopped work, we shut down the ports of Oakland and San Francisco. And yet we were denied the right to speak at both rallies in San Francisco and Oakland. And this has to be protested. It's got to be protested. And these bureaucrats in there of the AFL-CIO who link the labor movement to the concessions that are demanded by the Democratic Party have to be fought. So we say no more givebacks, fight backs. No givebacks, fight back. No givebacks, fight back.